Hey guys, Stas. I'm going to do this frequently asked beer questions thanks to Tasting Nitch. I was tagged by Gash Slugs, which I almost missed actually because he didn't actually say anything in the video. I just happened to click on the description and he said, I nominate Stas Brewing and SJ Bar. Forgot to mention that, so lucky I checked. I've been really enjoying watching these. I haven't watched everyone's. But I've really enjoyed the openness and frankness of all the conversation. Oh, by the way, this is the Jackalope King from Brewdog that I'm drinking. It's been a long week. So, these are my answers to the frequently asked questions. What was my first beer? It seems to be a fairly common story. I think technically my first beer, there's a photo somewhere in the family photo albums of me and another kid, probably aged 3 or 4, sitting around empty VB cans in our nappies in the summer party. We were just drinking the dregs, and Dad says he came in and noticed that we were acting a little bit funny. I think we were a little bit drunk. But then later, again, similar story. My parents would often drink, I think it was probably a Cascade Premium Light or Bow. No, I think they were Cascade drinkers. Didn't really get into it as a teenager, just having a sip. And then in the late teens, probably 16, 17, friends got we got into Light Ice and Carlton Cold and all those quality beers. And I think I never really dug it. And then I think the first time I got a little bit drunk on beer was VB. But again, I wasn't really into it. The first beer that I actually was like, whoa, yeah, I could drink this, was 2 Years Old, for all the Novocastrians or New South Welshmen. It's a dark beer. That was when I kind of first was like, yeah, this kind of makes sense. And then later into uni, that was my kind of first aha moment of a beer. How did you get into beer geeking? Well, I don't know how to call myself a geek. I mean, he says, sitting here drinking a Imperial What's-It in a bloody port glass. But, I enjoy beer. And more importantly, I enjoy tasting lots of different sorts of beer. And being a home brewer, I'm of course, trying to get as in tune with the ingredients that I'm using, trying to get an understanding of how they all affect the flavour and work together. And I think that inherently makes me, I guess, a bit of a geek, but I don't think of myself as a geek. I was just kind of like a brewer, home brewer really. It's kind of like difference between foodies and passionate home cooks or stuff like that. I'll always go and try beer, but I think my introduction to that was going through uni. A mate of mine, his name was Brad. He was all about trying something new, and we went through the craze. This is probably 2000 or so. Of the new quality beers were the Stella Artois and the Becks and the Heinekens and all those lagers. And we started kind of, whenever we saw something, we go, oh, what's that? I'll try that. So if I go out, I never drink the same beer. Well, I very rarely drink the same beer twice. And I always try to sort of plan a journey. Start light, maybe on a lager or a sour or something, and sort of pick my way from light to dark, more or less to more intense. So yeah, maybe I am a geek and I just don't admit it. What's my favourite beer? Oof. That's so hard. I really enjoy. I guess this is the commercial one, isn't it? I don't know that I could say. I mean, I really love the Brewdog Tokyo. I think that's a really great beer, but I couldn't drink it all the time. I've been really enjoying stuff from Parrot Dog, the New Zealand brewery. I don't know. I don't know that I could commit to one particular beer. I'm not a huge purchaser of commercial beer, but yeah, that's me. Maybe it's a bit of a cop-out answer. Don't know. Next question: if you could only have one beer, what would it be? This is the one beer for the rest of my life. Tony Yates said it would be a what was it? A light beer. Triple? Was it a triple? I don't know. I really liked his answer because you could. He said you could add stuff to it. It probably wouldn't be a really hoppy beer, but I don't know. I really enjoy dark beer, but I don't know if I could have a dark beer all the time. A Cascadian dark ale I really like, and that's got a nice balance of hoppiness and sort of roastiness. Maybe that could be my go-to, but when it's really hot and you just want to slam something down, maybe not. It's probably the boring answer. It'll probably be like a pale ale of some description with sort of moderate bitterness, nice hop aroma, but nothing too bitter. That would be something that I could do a lot with. Yeah, I could drink it. Hypotheticals. You know, when you're used to dancing from one beer to the next, always thinking of where you're going next, it's difficult to imagine yourself only drinking one beer. I probably would just start drinking water after a while and then go back to the beer. So maybe I should stop worrying about it. Number 5. How can you drink so much and stay healthy? Well, as many people have said, I try not to drink too much during the week. I'm not a huge drinker. I mean, I do have a keg fridge in my kitchen. I keg. All my friends said, "Oh, now you got your kegs. You're gonna get on it every night. You're gonna be shit faced all the time." Oops, sorry, swore. But really, it's quite the opposite. I remember when I was doing long necks, home brewing in long necks, you'd get through a long neck, which would be around 5-6%. You'd finish that, and you'd be kind of half cut, which would mean your rubbery arm kind of goes, "Oh yeah, I could have one more." Then you have 2 long necks, and by that time you're pretty thirsty for another one, and then 3 turns into 4, and by that time you've drunk 2 litres of beer or more. This one I can just have a little 200ml glass with dinner, and that'll be that. And the wife loves it because she doesn't have to have bottles up on the windowsill, which is for the win. But yeah, I don't drink too much during the week. Doesn't mean I go without. Usually have a couple of drinks on the weekend. Nothing too out there. As Gash said himself, when you got kids, whether it be changing dirty nappies or having a 2 and a 4-year-old raring to go at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you kind of got to bed at 2ish, and you're waking up with a hangover. You do that once, and you swear, never again. So yeah, I was probably about June last year. I was weighing at about 102 kilos. I kind of felt that I was a bit overweight and needed to do something about it. And with my work being quite busy, it's not very active, and I knew that I wasn't really going to have time to go to the gym or go for a run or anything, because by the time you get home, you do dinner and you do a bath, you put the kids to bed, you're just not going to get out and do it. Actually, did some meal replacement shakes on. I was using the Man Shake, and I've since switched to. What is it? This one. ISO Whey. I don't do that religiously anymore. I started off supplementing two meals for shakes, and that helped me drop about sort of 10-12 kilos in 6 months. And just the other thing I did was cut out carbs. I used to eat, bread for breakfast, sandwich for lunch, rice, pasta for dinner. I love bread. I love carbs. So do my children. But I just tried to cut that down to maybe once a day. Switched out to having oats and banana for breakfast. And that's kind of helped, and I'm now maintaining sort of in the high 80s, which I'd like to get down to 82 or so, but I'm just maintaining with fairly low maintenance, which is good. But yeah, that's me. Number 6. Are you an alcoholic? No, I'm not an alcoholic. I certainly don't. I enjoy a drink. I do not crave it. I look forward to a drink, but just for the experience, not for the alcohol. I've never really had a problem with it. Although I do tend to suffer from the effects of alcohol more. I certainly wouldn't call myself an alcoholic these days. Number 7, what's my favourite ingredient? I'm going to have to agree with Big Banana here. I think water would be my favourite ingredient, although I love the flavour of malt, different malts. I love the flavour and aroma of hops. Yeast, without yeast there wouldn't be beer, but I think water and the simplicity as a fundamental fluid in our bodies. We're 80% water or something like that, and without water, we wouldn't be alive. And I'm usually quite happy just drinking water on its own. Beer just adds to it, and I think of it as a beautiful delivery vessel for all of the goodness in beer. So water would be my favourite ingredient. Number 8, we're almost in there. Do I brew? Do I brew? Yes, I brew. Gone through a couple of different setups. Started, when did I brew first? I think I did my first home brew 2007? No, it must have been earlier than that. 2005 maybe. So I've been home brewing for a while, but not really really full on into it as much as I am in the last couple of years. The same friend, Brad, invited us over. He had his uncle's old homebrew stuff, and we did, standard cans, extract and dextrose. Made some okay beer that was fermented in the shed at whatever temperature it happened to be. Some were good, some were bad. We didn't really understand what we were doing. And then my mate Beefy, who's now a pro brewer, he was at Four Pines, and now he's at Endeavour Brewing just recently. He started in Mountain Goat down in Melbourne, actually. We started home brewing together, doing these partial mashes in a wok that he had on an electric wok. We were doing partial mashes. I remember we did I think it was a Little Creatures Pale Ale clone or something. We had probably about 1 kilo grain in this wok, and then we're putting hop additions in, and then we was sort of enjoying the smell and the whole process. And then we were like, oh, how do we get this wort out of a wok into a fermenting bucket? And there was a lot of mess, and we're like, maybe we should get a pot or something. But everyone starts out with not ideal equipment, but we persevered, and we started getting more and more into trying different things. We never really brewed the same thing twice, which everyone says to really get into it, you need to hone your craft. But we were kind of always out for trying something new. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. And then finally we, my wife and I bought this house and we weren't living in small apartments. Beefy went out and he really wanted to go to all grain, so he went out and bought a Braumeister, and we stored it in my shed, and he used to come out here for brew days, and we noticed straight away that, you know, the quality of the beer was there, and we weren't starting with a fixed starting point. Not to say that you can't make good beer with extract cans. I mean, I've now made some decent beers with the extract cans. It's just the flexibility of being able to control everything. And then he moved to Sydney, and then I had to figure out what I was going to do, and so I bought a Grainfather. That's my current setup, as you all know. I was very jealous of Aaron. I went over his place and he was doing extract on the stove, and I was thinking, God, it's so much quicker and easier and more compact. Maybe I should start doing extract. I know, Gash, you'll give me a nudge and say, yeah, the extract is not all that bad. But anyway, on to the last question. Who in the beer world do you look up to, or would I look up to? I guess in terms of breweries, I think the whole Brewdog thing is pretty cool. The story of those guys who started Brewdog and the beers that they created, and they kind of just went out and did their thing, created crazy beers and didn't care what everyone else thought, and just kind of the passion was first. That was really cool. In terms of, I really like, Randy Mosher and his approach to brewing and beer philosophy and tasting. That really I really like that. And guys like Gash and New to Homebrew Tom and Tony Yates and Paul Wicksteed, and those guys have been, I'm sure I'm missing them, but when I was starting to research my Grainfather and what to do and how to brew properly, all those Randy Motion, all the brew tubers, there's just such a wealth of knowledge and people passionate about the hobby and things, which have really helped me sort of become more interested and knowledgeable about it. But that's sort of it. I don't know that I would aspire to be anyone apart from I don't really have any aspirations of becoming a brewer myself. I mean, I'm a musician by trade and an educator as well, music educator. And home brewing is a passionate hobby of mine, and just like music, it can kind of expand and contract as I need to. Obviously with kids, my brewing's slowed down because it's a bit of a ask to constantly make sure that the kids are out of the way of 30 litres of hot boiling liquid, so it requires a bit of coordination. But those. I think that's all the questions that I have to answer. So thank you, Gash, for the nomination, and thanks to everyone for sharing. I haven't got through them all yet, but hopefully some of you found this interesting. I don't know how long this has gone for. It's probably too long. But I've got to nominate some people. I'd like to nominate Floor Sweepers Union, Carl, and I don't know, I think Tube Dino's already been, Tube Dinoz has already been nominated. And Chris from No Quarter Brewing, I nominate you, if you haven't been nominated already. And this is Stas from Stas Brewing with my frequently asked beer questions. Thank you for Tasting Nitch for putting out this series, and as SJ Paul said, it's been really great to see it all go around, and you get a bit of an insight into everyone. You get to know everyone just a little bit better. I think it's really great. So yeah, cheers.